Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is if you have your sun in Leo and your moon in Capricorn. These two signs are 150 degrees apart, which is called an inconjunction or a quincunx. That's such a weird word, so I try to avoid it at all costs. And it's considered an awkward angle. So what it can involve are two elements that have nothing in common. So in this case, we're talking about the sun being in fire and the moon being in earth. And certainly you can see how that would be true in a lot of ways, because what could you say is common ground between fire and earth? The fire signs are Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and they are associated with freedom, creativity, joy, kind of like the inner child that is alive and well, and autonomy, things like that, being rebellious, being your own person. The earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, are connected to things of this world that are practical, the elements, it is, actually I should just stick to the earth itself, but all of the features of the earth, but money, possessions. I'm thinking of the pentacles in the tarot. So we're talking about the things that you own, the money that you earn, the house that you live in, everything that is physical is an earth sign, the concerns of this world. And so how do they meet up? Well, everything, you can find common ground with anything. I'm really struggling to think of anything that I could see as being connected, although I will say that material resources, I do think that abundance can flow from the earth as well as fire, because fire is very creative and is very expansive. That's another element of the fire element, is expansion. So when we think of abundance, this combination may be very good at getting that type of success. And that also includes with career matters, because Capricorn rules the 10th house, which is the career, which is one's status in life. So we have that with Leo. Actually, this combination, I think, is almost assured for success. Of course, success is a relative word anyway, so I can't really be more specific than that. But I think that when it comes to career, this combination is very hardworking to the point of being a workaholic, because both of these signs are about ambition and leadership abilities. Capricorn is a cardinal sign, and all four cardinal signs, Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, and Libra, are natural leaders. And then when you add Leo, Leo is a natural leader too. But there are going to be definite things that clash with this sun-moon combination. I'm going to start by talking about the moon. And it's funny because Leo is ruled by the sun, so there's another thing that Leo has a connection with the sun, and Leo rules the 5th house of love and creativity and fun, things that people do as pastimes, hobbies, whatever. Think about that in contrast to Capricorn ruling the 10th house of career. That is much more serious and down to business. So Leo, even though it is very ambitious and tends to be hardworking, also likes to have a lot of fun and likes to be more lighthearted. Whereas, and that's because it is ruled by the sun, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn has that very exacting, authoritarian kind of parent vibe to it. So because the moon sign is in Capricorn, there is a coldness. And this, I feel that this is a difficult combination, in part because of this. I don't remember, after I do a video, I don't remember exactly what I said, but, I've already done the opposite version of this. And I feel like if somebody's moon is in Leo and they have the sun in Capricorn, and I'm pretty sure I gave the example of David Bowie. I think he had that combination. That it's a little bit, it's actually an easier combination because it kind of lessens that severity that can occur with Capricorn. But when it's in the moon position, this can be how the emotions are playing out. And the person can be very remote, in other words, very detached, but they can also have a rather pessimistic type of emotional nature where it's hard for somebody to get in there because, there are different reasons for this. One of them can be because the mother can be connected to the moon sign, and this person may have had a mother who behaved like a Capricorn. It doesn't mean that she was actually born under the sign of Capricorn, but she may have been very ambitious herself, but certainly treating her child, wanting her child to be successful in that worldly sense, and maybe putting pressure on that child. And so because this is in the moon position, Capricorn, the person may have a lot of fear about failure, about like, oh my God, what would happen if I didn't get straight A's? If, the person is either a teenager or in college, what will happen? Will I lose the love of my parents? Or this could be that the person is afraid of failure later on, when they have a career. Again, it's the same premise, like I will lose that kind of acceptance, meaning love. And what would happen if that occurred? What would become of me? And this is so because the moon can be tied to our sense of safety. And safety is not just a physical thing, it's an emotional. Our sense of security, I should say. It's kind of the same word. And so if somebody doesn't feel that they will be loved if they are not as successful as that parent wanted them to be, that can be very intimidating, and the child can, or the adult can feel like they have to prove themselves constantly, and they're success oriented. So this can be a difficult thing for Leo because Leo is fire and wants freedom, and part of freedom is that you don't have to bow down to anybody and impress anybody, and you can be your own person. So that clashes with that. And it doesn't mean that the person's going to completely be like that moon sign for sure, but it could kind of rear its ugly head from time to time. And also this can make it difficult for the warmth of Leo to really express itself because our emotional nature comes from our moon sign. I have the moon in Virgo and my sun is in Sagittarius. And you could say there's similarities there. When you have the sun in fire and the moon in earth, the warmth of the sun sometimes doesn't show up with the emotional output. That can be a bit standoffish. Or with Virgo, fussy. With Capricorn, it's more, I would say, steely, like very, very much in that mode of trying to cope with whatever situation the person is presented with. The moon in Capricorn can lack sympathy for others. Again, all of these things are moderated by, for instance, the sun sign and other placements that are directly affecting the personality in the chart. So when I say these things, don't think that this is going to be 100% how you operate, but isolating that moon position, but also bringing in the sun in Leo and how that could challenge that, your first reaction is to kind of like I said something about, I think I just used the term about coping, but that's really what I feel like with Capricorn in general. Suck it up, buttercup. So the person may feel like, hey, life is, I was going to say life is a bitch and then you die, that kind of thing, which is cynical, but just kind of the hard-boiled element of the Capricorn mentality. But I'm actually talking about the way that the person expresses emotions and how that plays out in terms of interactions with others. Or maybe this idea of you made your bed, now lie in it, and I'm not going to sympathize with you because you should have made better choices, and just kind of very stern, serious about that. And that can be off-putting for other people because they may feel like this individual is a little bit too, I was going to use the word exacting, but that's more like demanding from others, but just too severe in how they view other people's problems. And so it may be hard for you to sympathize with others or empathize with them, but it could be more of a situation of blowing hot and cold, where sometimes that sun sign can override everything, because Leo is a very strong sign in terms of how it expresses itself. So it may be able to override that coldness of Capricorn on a regular basis, but there may be some times when you pull away and you kind of close yourself off emotionally. And other people may be like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. And you may be doing it so that you can concentrate on a goal and you don't want any kind of distractions. And I feel like this combination can do that, whereas other people, they may get absorbed in other people's problems because emotionally they are, wrapped up in it. And you might be like, no one is going to distract me from what I need to accomplish. In terms of love, I feel that, I know that Leos are very romantic, and I don't feel the same way about Capricorn energy. But, and to me, the moon sign is very important for this because it is the emotional nature and the emotional attitudes in life. And so somebody suggested that I do combinations of the moon and Venus, and I think that's a great idea, because if you combine those two, you may see how a person behaves in relationships. But in any case, definitely look at, what sign your Venus is in. See if it's in fire, see if it's in Leo, because if it's also in Leo, that will tend to override that coldness of Capricorn. But anyway, in terms of love, you may be very devoted to getting ahead. So you might be a late bloomer when it comes to love. Even if you have crushes on people and romantic, there may be something that's very steadfast in your desire to rise to the top. But I feel, I want to make it clear though, and I don't think I have been, unfortunately, with other Moon and Capricorn videos, that I think that the sign of Capricorn, I think, is actually quite sensitive underneath the surface. But that's the kind of a paradox, or you could call it the problem, is that there may be a lack of integration between acknowledgement of having emotional needs and what the person's actually doing about it on a daily basis. So you could have a person who maybe, there are rare occasions where your vulnerability kind of comes to the surface and you feel very exposed, you feel like very sensitive for some reason, but then you may hunker down and go back into that work mode and just kind of muscle through it and try to, and I think workaholism sometimes too is a distraction from emotional issues. And by the way, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, because I think at least it's productive and somebody's doing something constructive rather than just wallowing in their feelings. If somebody isn't going to be very deliberate when they're, sitting with their emotions, then it could just be self-indulgent and not lead anywhere. So I'm not saying that that's even a bad thing overall, but when somebody isn't in touch with their emotional pain, then yes, it can be something that is a bypassing, and you don't want to do that. You want to be front and center with whatever it is that you're dealing with, and at the same time not allowing it to cripple you and prevent you from, functioning. So I do think that a person with the moon in Capricorn is more than capable of love, for sure. It's just that obviously you have to pick the right person. And this combination and other influences in the chart, I think that one of Leo's biggest pitfalls is lust. I think that Leo's can be highly sexed, and that means that they may get involved with somebody for the sexual relationship and sometimes even fool themselves into thinking that they're in love with that person. And I think that Capricorns, I don't talk about this way, but I do believe, the old goat can be full of lust as well. The devil card in the tarot, part of that is the idea of lust, binding a person, chaining a person, and that being problematic. And I used to work in a health food store, and we had this herb. It was called horny goat weed. We used to have so much fun with that whenever somebody would buy a bottle of it. So there must be some connection between goats and being randy, very randy. So suffice it to say, if this is a double influence, not to mention what is your Mars sign, that is the sign of, that is the planet that's associated with your libido. All of these influences could really affect things and can, create a situation where you make the wrong choice when it comes to a partner. It's based on a one-dimensional situation. So that's one of the things to watch out for. But I do believe that this combination is capable of love. And I think that you would take it very seriously, to be honest with you. But when it comes to types of careers, I feel like business is a natural, entrepreneurship in particular, but even working in a corporate environment might be something that you respond well to. I think even like, Leos are associated with the entertainment field, and I don't think that this would prevent that from happening. The moon, I don't feel is as influential for, career in general, but because the moon is connected to creativity, for sure, Capricorn is not, I wouldn't call Capricorn a creative sign in and of itself, per se. But I do think that if somebody is demonstrating creativity, in this case, being a sun in Leo and maybe some other placements, that it can indicate that someone, needs to kind of be disciplined in their creative output, and the moon can be that creative output. And in Capricorn, maybe that's how it happens. Stevie Nicks has the moon in Capricorn, although her sun is actually in Gemini. And I was really surprised to see that. I thought that she would be more, I thought maybe even like Scorpio or something along those lines. But the moon, being the creative force and being in this organized and disciplined sign like Capricorn, I think can help a person take their art seriously. I think anything where you are a coach, where you are encouraging people is a natural. So those are just some examples, obviously not all of them. And anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you would like a personal reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.